It was Monday afternoon, the second full day of our family vacation to Washington, D.C. We had spent the previous day on the hallowed ground of the Gettysburg battlefield, where I had had the opportunity to preach in the open air at Devil's Den. Monday began with a trip to the National Archives, and then it was off to the White House. After lunch, we hit all of the big monuments and memorials, including the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial, which I had visited previously, was a particularly emotional place for my wife Maria. It was as she looked up at Lincoln's imposing figure that the realization hit her. She was really in Washington, D.C. She had really made her trip of a lifetime. I was overjoyed to see the tears roll down her beautiful cheeks. While having spent some time reading Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and second inaugural speech, which are both etched in the walls of the memorial, and having taken a plethora of pictures and video of the historic site, I set out to distribute gospel tracts. Within moments, I was swarmed by people, young and old, who wanted their own Obama $1 trillion bill. This particular gospel tract literally flew out of my hands the entire week. I went through hundreds of them. At one point, a man came walking toward me down the flight of stairs of the memorial. I could tell he wasn't coming to get a tract because he already had one in his hand. "I've been reading the fine print on the back of this bill," the man said. "I think you should know that I am a member of the American Atheist Society." I smiled. "So how can you prove that God exists?" he asked. "Oh, I don't have to," I said. "The burden of proof lies with you." "Oh, so you're going to turn it around on me?" "Well, yes, in a court of law, the burden of proof always lies with the accuser, not the defendant. The defendant doesn't have to prove anything. You stand as the accuser. You accuse God of not existing. The burden of proof lies with you." I shared the building/painting analogy with the man to show the reasonableness of belief in the Creator. I said, "In the end, if what I believe isn't true, it won't make any difference. We'll both become dust. You won't be able to say, 'I told you so,' and I won't be able to apologize to you for being wrong. But if what I'm telling you is true, then eternity hangs in the balance, and I don't want you to go to hell." I explained to the man, using atheist Penn Jillette as a reference, how monstrous I would be if, while professing to believe in Jesus Christ as the only way of salvation, I didn't tell people. And as I continued to talk to him, people came up to me asking for tracts. Then a police officer approached us. I acknowledged her presence by smiling and simply saying, "Hi, how are you?" "What are you handing out?" $1 trillion bills. Would you like one?" "No, thanks," she answered with a smile. A couple people have complained. Are you soliciting anything?" "No, I'm not trying to sign people up for anything, and I'm not asking for anything from anyone." "You're just exercising free speech?" she asked. "That's right. And if people don't want to take what you're handing out, I simply say goodbye and have a nice day." At one point, the man said to the officer, "It's not bothering me." Satisfied with my answers, the officer went on her way. The man I was talking to, his name was Buzz. Buzz told me that he is Jewish and was raised in a religious family. I asked him when he stopped believing in God. It was 1991, the year his brother committed suicide. Buzz could not come to terms with how a loving God could allow a quote-unquote good person to take their own life. When Buzz told me that his brother had committed suicide, I said, "I'm sorry to hear that." "I believe you are," Buzz replied. Without making any assumptions about his brother's spiritual condition or eternal destination, I explained to Buzz that no one is good, not his brother, not him, and certainly not me. I explained why that was true by taking Buzz through the 10 Commandments. I said, "Buzz, again, I make no assumptions about your brother. I didn't know him, but I'm confident that if he could say one thing to you right now, it would be this: don't miss heaven. If your brother is in hell, he would say, don't miss heaven. If your brother is in heaven, he would say, don't miss heaven." Buzz and I continued to talk for a while when the conversation turned to miracles. If Jesus was born of a virgin, then that was a miracle. If God parted the Red Sea for Moses and the Jewish people, then that was a miracle. Why then won't God give me a miracle? Buzz asked. "Buzz, God has given you a miracle." Buzz leaned back, smiled, and half chuckled. The answer seemed to surprise him. He has? Yes, he has, I said. And the miracle is this. The miracle is that God has not killed you today for the sins you've committed against him today. You presumptively breathe his air while denying his existence and refusing to submit to his authority. The miracle is that God has not already judged you and sent you to hell for your sins against him. Buzz stared at me for a moment, then said, "That was good." We talked for a few more minutes. I never verbally shared the gospel with Buzz. While Buzz was a friendly and polite man, his heart was hard. But he did have a gospel tract in his hand. As we said goodbye, Buzz said, "Well, I'm going to read what you've given me, and I'm going to visit your website." "Thank you, Buzz. I'll be praying for you, and God bless you." "Thanks," he said. We went our separate ways, each of us returning to our families. God is so very faithful and kind for allowing me to place the gospel in the hand of a member of the American Atheist Society and, as a result, allowing me to spend more than 20 minutes in friendly conversation with him. The next time you think of questioning the value and effectiveness of gospel tracts, please take a moment to remember my conversation with Buzz, a conversation that took place on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.